Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are on the planet. And welcome to today's Wednesday, the 24th of April, Bull versus Bear webinar. Steve Miley here on the call for Trade Day. Welcome, everyone. Going to go through a usual run through in here today, both the macro calendar and the earnings calendar at the moment being in still the early to mid stages of the Q2 earnings season. We'll also take a look at articles from the major news wires and then a quick look at the charts, what's going on in the markets you guys are trading. So on the macro side in here, it was light yesterday, nothing really of any significant note. Remember, we are on the blackout period. We did get the S&P global flash PMI for global economies in here. So kind of a real mixed bag in here, as you can see in here. France, Germany, Eurozone, UK in here, kind of hits and misses. So really mixed in there. And if we scroll down to the US in here, where's the US? So pretty much inline, slight negatives, if anything. So slight miss on the services, slight miss on the manufacturing, but they weren't huge misses, but still slight misses in here to the downside. Perversely in here, you may actually seen that seen as a positive for stocks, because obviously a slightly worse economy may have the Fed more likely to be more dovish. So kind of a little bit of counterintuitively, this could have actually been positive for the market. On the earnings side, the main development yesterday, which is after the bell, where even though we had Tesla, which missed on both its revenue and its earning per shares, there was positive forward guidance on producing cheaper electric vehicles, and the market liked that, and Tesla surging higher and helping the broader market up. Also, along with that, anticipation that the big names that we have now coming up, and if we go into today, it's Meta is the big one we're watching for today. That's not till after the bell. Also IBM after the bell today as well. We've already had Thermo Fisher Scientific in here and AT&T out today, generally better than expected. Slight miss on the revenue in here from AT&T, but not a massive deal. Also, we had in here, you can see in here, better than expected on Boeing. Boeing makes up a big part of the price-weighted index of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, so that should be good for the DJIA. But the big focus today is going to be after the bell on Meta, and then tomorrow Microsoft and Google/Alphabet. So we're watching out for those. So going into a really important next 24 to 36 hours in here for the megatechs, for the some of the Magnificent Seven, and Tesla also already performing well despite missing on EPS and on their revenues. So here we have that Tesla on a budget. Tesla shares are up 11% in early New York trading. Some of its 42% losses since the start of 2024, accelerating the launch of cheaper cars. Meta, as we said, are reporting. Obviously, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Auctions yesterday went well on the bond side. So we had one observer calling the auctions impressive. So we had government debt sales, US bond auction sales. So a successful auctions equals strong bid, which means higher prices, lower yields, potentially also helping stocks higher in there. That the fact that the bond market auctions went well. Okay, this is stuff about Gucci owners Kering have fallen to the lowest in more than 6 years in Paris. So that's a negative elsewhere that we're seeing. And TikTok looks like it's under pressure in here, and a likely ban coming from the US. What else do I? So yeah, these are just running really through some of the things we've already run through. So tech ready keeps stocks afloat amid mixed earnings. So say earnings haven't been necessarily great, but tech stocks have rebounded in here. So that's been significant. And then Tesla, cheaper EVs, new affordable cars in here has helped Tesla up and the broader market up, as well as tech goes higher. Meta in here, we're watching today, a 50 billion man buyback in bid to win over investors. That's potentially coming. Treasuries advanced as record US auction lures solid buyer demand. So it's a record auction, but it was well covered. Well covered means good amount of buyers coming in wanting to buy the bonds in here. Well covered meaning a healthy auction, higher prices, lower yields, helping stocks higher, as well as with that Tesla news in here. and for some reason this not loading. But basically, these two articles basically up yesterday and up overnight. So from Reuters in here, I don't know why they're not there. So S&P Nasdaq futures advance on tech boost. That's from Tesla in here on the overnights. Boosted by Tesla. You can see in here Tesla led gains across the mega caps with a near 10%. And then yesterday we were higher. Tech rallied generally broadly yesterday as we move to, again, the lower yields in here helping that. Wall Street closes high as investors digest earnings and the mega cap outlook. Tesla kicking off the Magnificent Seven in here. General Motor shares also rise on upbeat results yesterday. If we look at the CME Fed Watch tool, though, this hasn't really changed. Obviously, we've been in the Fed blackout. We've got the decision coming next week. Obviously, nothing expected on that decision. We don't get the dot plot chart either. So all we're really looking for is the Q&A, the press conference, and is there any tweaks to the statement, particularly pertaining to that CPI data that we had, remember, last week, which was a lot worse than expected and has pushed markets low. Not last week, the week before last, right? And then we've also got the PCE data. That's going to be important later this week. So on Friday, we get PCE. Remember, that's the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, the personal consumption and expenditure data. We get that, I think it's Friday this week, and that's going to be important because obviously it may give us some kind of extra clues on inflation, but also it may see the Fed, kind of change their tone a little bit in what we get from the press conference and from the statement that we get next week. So really no kind of, we're still looking for, even at July, nearly getting close to 60% chance that we're still unchanged in July. So the market now really pricing in the first cut out here now into September. If we look on the overnights, what do we have? Well, we're up healthily in Asia, Nikkei and the Hang Seng up over 2% overnight, with US stocks obviously higher overnight as well, and a follow through as well into this European session with the FTSE DAX and the CAC between 3 and 0.6 higher overnight. And US futures having had a good day yesterday. We're up like 1 to 1.5% pretty much on S&P and Nasdaq, and now on the overnights in the Nasdaq continuing its on the follow through, up about 0.5%, with the Nasdaq and the Dow little change so far on overnights. There's the when it loads, the yield chart. So we did move back down slightly lower in yields. Is the 10-year. We have actually retraced back higher in yields. So that's a slight negative, having moved slightly back lower in yields after that auction. And Treasuries still continue, even though we're consolidating. Consolidation pattern. Is this a basing pattern for the bond markets in here, or is the threat still lower? If we can get a base on bonds, so bonds then base goes in higher in price, watching out for a potential base here, higher in price would then equal lower in yields, and that should be supportive of stock indices. So watching out for those levels. I think if you're trading stock indices over the next few days, certainly looking at these breakout levels I've got on the upside. If we can get above these levels, even though it kind of remains bearish at the moment, that will flip us to more bullish, and then we could easily see, say, bullish on bonds equals higher prices equals lower yields therefore potentially healthy for the stock indices. And stocks have had a really that strong day yesterday in here, flipping us now into bullish. So we've actually already switched to bullish, so that could be reinforced. That's on the Nasdaq anyway. We're staying just bearish because we're below this key Fibonacci level. If we can take that out in here, then which we already have this morning, then that actually kind of turns us more bullish in here. Sorry, that was the S&P. We've already switched bullish. If we take out, which we already have, that level on the, because we were right up on it, we're through that level now on the Nasdaq. So we're flipping more bullish now on the outlook. It looks like a base has gone in. So that strong rally, the last two sessions in here, creating a basing pattern. You see, we're right on this 13-period EMA. I think if we can get above that, that could be significant in here. That's currently sitting at 51.24. So a more significant move through 51.23.24 would be significantly bullish in here for the S&P. And if we look at what we've got on the from the sell-off from the actual top in here, let me get rid of that. I'm just going to show you the bigger retracements in here. You can see we're getting up to close to 50%. If we can get above 50, the halfway point in here, 51.48, that will be another significant move in here on the top side. On the Nasdaq, whoops, don't know why that happened. In here, doing a similar kind of analysis. In here, if we go from That's not going to work. No, I'm going to have to get rid of that and go through it again. Just bear with me. In here, you can see we're already peaking through the levels I was highlighting there. This 38.2% retracement, we've already nudged up through there. But I think critical now 50%. So 50% of the whole move, 17,906 up through there would certainly look a lot more positive. Probably going to struggle to get up to and through there, but it may do it before we get the meta results today after the close. But I think we could easily be challenging up towards those levels today. I think we're going to get a lot of fear of missing out coming in today. Has this sell-off ended? Has the big correction we've seen in here over the last few weeks ended? And there's going to be value buyers coming in looking to buy those Magnificent Seven as we go into their earnings that we're getting, obviously, in the next 24, 36 hours for some of them. And then into next week for some of the others we get, I think, well, we had Apple and Amazon, I think we have lined up into next week. Flipping to bullish in here now on the stock indices and watching out for cues from the bond markets. If they can switch bullish as well, then that could really help the indices, the stock indices, push even higher. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to wish you all a great trading day. Take care, stay safe, and I'll be back with you with another bull versus bear webinar from tomorrow. We'll take a look at that metadata.